Just so you, know, I'll probably fumble through this. Just
Make the time, buddy.
yeah, I know. So
We're in progress too.
yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Main Street Board of Directors for March 8th, 2023. Can we get a roll call, Meredith? Okay. Next on the agenda is any agenda additions. Anybody like to add anything to the agenda for today? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Support.
It's been a motion and support. Okay. Any questions? All right. All in favor, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All the same? All the nay, the same? Okay. All right. Approval of the minutes. Take a motion. Okay. Any questions? If not, roll. All in favor? My bad.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. All right. Director's report.
All right. So a couple updates real quick on some services from Main Street, from Michigan Main Street. Branding service. Darcy and I met with the consultant from I can't remember the name of the company, so I apologize, but they'll be doing the branding service. Looks like they're going to be able to fit us in April, and they're going to do a hybrid approach. So we'll have some stuff online and then some stuff in person. The online will really be engaging our business owners, some of our other stakeholders, and then there'll be a survey that goes along with that. And then the in-person will really be focusing with our board of directors as far as getting input through that. It's a pretty quick process. So the other process is all in person, and it takes them about 3 days from start to finish. They come up with logos, branding, everything. They exclusively work with Main Street communities throughout the United States. He just told us that the week prior he was in Mississippi and did 3 communities in 4 days. So the guys are sharp. They do good work. I've been impressed with some of the stuff they've done. In Michigan, Sault Ste. Marie was one of their communities that I saw. So it'll be exciting. As soon as I get more details, I'll share it with everyone. We want as much input from the board as possible throughout the process. In conjunction with that is communication services. So there'll be another consultant that'll be working with us to help disseminate that information, the new branding, working with us on our 5 stakeholder groups that they determine through Michigan Main Street, how we communicate with them, give us some samples and templates to use as we go through that communication process. And the last thing I want to touch on, Match on Main, we received 3 applications. We were only able to submit one of them, as the other 2 were incomplete. So Ghidra's received the vote to go ahead. They had all of the information in, and it was a qualifying application. So we should find out in April if they received the information. Previous round, we also had the Adrian Armory that won, and that grant application was just executed the end of February. So they should be starting construction on their project relatively soon. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Jay. Finance report, Brad?
Yep. So I distributed that to everybody and also via email for anybody that wasn't able to come today. Balance sheet pretty much looks like it always does every single month. For the actual revenue expenditure report, I'd like to note on the very first page, 3rd line down, you'll notice that we had a nice chunk of donations that came in the last month. I'm assuming due to Mr. Thomas's polar plunge amongst other revenue sources. So that increased by $12,000, which is excellent. And then I did do a summary on the very last page, which kind of gives you an idea of where we're at right now. Right now, we do have a revenue and expense surplus of $87,552, but we have a lot of things that are going to be coming out before the end of the fiscal year. So those expenses are kind of highlighted there, the big ones in red. And then we do have some general fund contribution from the city as part of that 35,000 that they've committed to us. So as of right now, before we spend anything else, Adrian for the seasons, First Friday, farmers market, promotions, everything else, we have about a $15,000 700 surplus. So that's not a ton of money to work with for the rest of the fiscal year unless we can raise more. But that gives you an idea of where we're at.
Any questions for Brad? Take a motion to approve the financials.
Support.
Support. Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. And Brad, are you gonna do the budget presentation? Oh, that's.
Hadn't even.
I can do it. That's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Brad.
So in the packet was the budget presentation for this coming fiscal year 23-24. We have increased some line items. We've added some additional line items and we've increased some funding in others. We've also got additional revenue coming in from the TIF and some of the sales and some of the property tax. So that's good. There will be some increase in donations that we will be looking at. Nice thing about the budget is we can offset those directly with other expenses. So if we don't raise enough funds, we can look at those line items to pull those out. So that's the nice part of it. It is a balanced budget. This would be a recommendation to from the board to the city commission, because the city commission was the one that approves the budget. Are there any questions?
I went to Jay's office and we went over it, and basically we lined up everything from the previous year, made sure that everything looked good. And we added about, I would say, what, 6 or 7 line items.
Yeah, 6 or 7 line items.
And they were very much just to get us to the point where we can see some specific projects separated from some of these big nebulous accounts, just so that we can kind of see where things are at.
Right. Motion to approve the budget as presented.
So moved.
Support. Support. Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Budget is recommended for city commission.
Awesome. Thank
All right. Now report from the city. Greg?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple things that might be of interest to your board. We determined to move ahead with the electricity for the food trucks over at the Farmers Market Pavilion. Shifting it over to the west side of the property so that it won't be in the way of any future planning related to the interface between that site and the farm site that Croswell folks are working on. But want to try to have it available for this season if we can. Jay can tell you more about the schedule for that. Now we're using some of our few remaining ARPA funds to accomplish that. Then on the city commission pre-meeting agenda Monday night, we discussed 2 proposals from Smith Group for downtown. One is the Riverfront / Winter Street streetscape proposal that they have. It's essentially a visioning process for that and schematic design process for that. And the other is for the Maiden Lane project, activation of Maiden Lane and creating a connection through to the Gene Christopher lot, what we call the Gene Christopher lot over there. And the commission determined that they would like to go ahead with both of those. We're going to have the formal resolutions on the March 20th agenda. Those funds are coming from our $15 million earmark that we got for downtown redevelopment and riverfront redevelopment opportunities. And I don't honestly know whether the money's in the bank. If Lenawee Now's there, I can't see if they're there today, but maybe they can report on that during their time. They were expecting it, I believe, last week to be wired in. That we get the first half, 7.5 million initially. So with that understanding, the commission was comfortable going ahead with those two things. I think the rough numbers, the riverfront Winter Street visioning is about $45,000, and the Maiden Lane project's about, not the project, but the design process is about $16,000. Just so you know, as it relates to the riverfront Winter Street area, what will likely happen is that Winter Street streetscape will precede any other work because there's site acquisition that needs to be done. The riverfront redesign works only around the Telegram property that private investors have secured, and their process will proceed on its own, separate from anything that we're doing. We're working only on public lands as it relates to the use of those particular funds, and those lands still need to be secured. We don't own any public lands over there currently, so we're working on that, working through that with Citizens Gas, trying to find them an opportunity to relocate. Had a meeting with them last week in that regard. Slow progress with that, but I would say progress. So I'm happy to answer any questions about those matters or anything else that your board might have questions about.
Anybody have any questions for Greg? Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
All right, board action, Jay.
Next thing on the agenda is approval of the hire of a market manager. So it's a recommendation of the executive director, the Downtown Adrian Main Street DDA board, approve the hiring of Jessica Stretch to manage the Adrian City Market and allow the executive director to sign and execute the contract between the parties.
All right. All in favor of
motion?
Oh, I need a motion to approve.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jessica was formerly the market manager in Tecumseh. She worked there for 3 years up until last season. Last season, they went a different direction. She has been, she was actually asked by the USDA to go to a summit in Chicago a couple of years ago to talk about market revitalization using the Tecumseh market as an example. And she was a speaker at that summit for an agricultural farmers market gathering. She's improved the market growth in Tecumseh over 50% in the 3 years that she was there, both for attendance, number of vendors, and vendor revenue. So she's excited. She does a great job with events and people. And I think once people find out that she's here, they will follow her because, you know, she does a great job building that community.
Any other questions? We'll take a motion. Yeah. Second. Support. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
All right, the next thing is, there'll be two of them, but I'll speak to them individually. The first is the budget amendment for the market manager contract. So it's recommendation of the executive director, the DDA, that the Downtown Main Street DDA approve the proposed budget amendment. And what this is we'd be moving about $4,000 that remain in the Artelicious account over to a new account for farmers market contracted services. At the new fiscal year, these accounts would be made whole. And again, this account is used to pay for bands and stages at Artelicious. It's not funding Artelicious, unfortunately, Don, but it is paying for the stage and the bands that are there.
Yeah, and we came in vastly under budget. Therefore, we are basically just taking the surplus and moving it over to pay for the market position.
Any questions?
All right, I'll take a motion to approve both budget amendments.
Let's do this one.
Just one at a
Yep,
time?
do one at a time.
Okay,
I'll do a motion.
okay. Second,
Support.
support. Okay. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carried.
So the next one is budget amendment for the farmers market marketing budget. Again, it's the recommendation of the executive director, downtown Adrian Main Street DDA approved proposed budget amendment. This would be to move about $6,000 remaining. There's more than that, but $6,000 of the remaining monies in the Adrian for the Seasons account and move that over to the farmers market marketing account. Again, at the beginning of the fiscal year, these accounts will be made whole, so they will have their own budget amounts and line items. I've spoken to Parks, and my understanding is Parks pays for our potted plants and our flowers to start the season. And then we do the fall. And I looked the past 2 years and we haven't paid for them.
That news we have been using a budgeted amount since then, so Parks is still like that.
Yeah, because I haven't seen a withdrawal from our account to pay for potted plants or flowers for the last 2 years. So, yeah. So, and it still leaves us about $1,600 in that account. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we may run into, yeah, $1,600 in there still.
And then you'll be reset on July 1 at 8,000.
And we still got some challenges with hardware for the lights for hanging baskets. We're still trying to get that taken care of. So, so as soon as we can get estimates and costs on those, we'll move forward with those. But yeah, that's where we are with them, and we can adjust it accordingly if we need to going forward. But I think we'll be fine.
All right, I'll take a motion for that budget amendment.
I moved.
Okay.
Support.
Support. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Next is to set a fee structure for the farmers market. It's a recommendation of the promotions committee that the downtown Adrian Main Street DDA approve the recommended fee structure for the 2023 farmers market season. So last year, the market charged $50 for a seasonal vendor and $10 for a daily vendor. This year, it's a recommendation to go up to $75 for a seasonal vendor and still $10 for a daily vendor. And these would continue to increase annually until they get up to what market rate would be, somewhere in that $150, $125, $150 per season range. Any questions?
Are these similar rates to what we're in Tecumseh or?
Tecumseh's at the market rate. They're at $150 or $200 per season. So as a new market growing, we want to still encourage people to come in and grow that. So.
Okay. Okay.
We also have the increase with the restrooms and the electric plugs that are coming in. And so we're bringing value to it. It's
Yeah,
not like we've
yeah.
raised it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Would be different fee for the food truck versus produce?
Yes, food trucks have their own fee structure outside of this.
Any other questions? All right. We'll take a motion for the farmers market fee structure.
So moved.
Okay.
Support.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All opposed? All right. Motion carried.
Next item is pavilion rental fee. It's a recommendation of the promotions committee that the downtown Adrian Main Street DDA approve the recommended rental fee for the use of the Toledo Street Market Pavilion. So when the city commission recently updated street closure policy, they included moving the operation of the market pavilion over to the DDA. So in looking at that, right now the fee was set at $300 to rent the pavilion. To give you a comparison, the fee to close a single street now is $150. So, and to close all of downtown is $325. And so as we look at the comparison, you look at the value you add at the market with the restrooms and pending, electric, the promotion committee recommended $150 to rent that facility. So are there any questions, any thoughts? I think there's some additional things we can add in the future to gain some more revenue, to make it a little more enticing. If there's some discussion about adding tables and chairs into that in the future and looking to make it more of a place and in a facility for rental. So
Who opens and closes that?
So we'll be responsible for the cleanliness. It'd probably be me opening and closing for the facility at this time, you know, as we move through it. But again, I would probably be responsible for the cleanliness of the restrooms. I have spoken to Matt, city engineer, and there's an opportunity to use their cleaning service at a small hourly rate, I think $20 or less an hour. So we might work that into like First Friday schedule after First Fridays if they're open to have them clean that or different things. So, but it's really a nominal fee for them to clean the restrooms for us. So.
Any other questions? I'll take a motion. Okay. Meredith. Support. Okay, turn. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right. Motion carried. All right. Moving on to committee reports. It looks like Meredith has been so happily to take that chair position. So Meredith.
I think the committee has met twice so far. Let's see what hasn't already been covered. We looked at, as Jay said, fees for the pavilion. We would really like to make this a good alternative community space and get away, as if we can, from closing downtown as often as we currently do. So we talked about that. We also looked at some tables and chairs, stackable tables and chairs that we could rent for people who are using the pavilion if they would like to use those. And I think next up for our committee is social media. Tara's taken on the challenge of helping us with a description and curriculum to submit to Adrian College so that we can use their interns or student advisors for some social media work for the board and the committee. We're also looking at some website options for the Main Streets website and a community calendar. We talked some about, as Jay said, the services that Michigan Main Streets is offering us: branding, communication, storytelling. And we're meeting for the next few months, at least twice a month. So more to come.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Meredith. All right. All right. Michelle, First Fridays.
Not too much to say about March. The weather kind of took that out. A lot of businesses closed early, so I'm not really, I wasn't downtown. Hopefully the weather leaves us alone the rest of the year. April, we're going to do an Easter egg hunt. So it's going to be a community event similar to what we do for Halloween with the trick-or-treating. We're going to close the streets. The Easter egg hunt will take place from 5:30 to 7:30. If the weather hits us again, we'll probably hold it in various places, including the gallery, possibly this building, possibly the library. If we can do it outside, the idea is to do different age groups on each block so that the kids aren't, the little kids aren't getting trampled on by the older kids and such. We're currently looking into buying some Easter eggs, which Greg is super excited about.
Super excited.
Michelle, how many Easter eggs was that?
What's that?
How many Easter eggs was that?
We haven't settled on a number, but we're looking at about 10,000 Easter eggs.
Nice.
Which sounds like a lot, but when you think of it in terms of like the number of pieces of candy we had at Halloween, and the number of kids we had downtown, if you assume that you're going to have 500 kids and 10 eggs a kid, you're already at 5,000 eggs. So I guess we'd rather have plenty of eggs rather than have kids get there at, 7 o'clock and there's no eggs left. And we can obviously always reuse the eggs next year if we decide to do an annual Easter egg. So
Michelle, who's stuffing 10,000 eggs and hiding 10,000 eggs?
So the eggs will be
And have they started already?
The eggs will be they'll come pre-filled. Yeah, hiding them. I don't think we're going to really try to hide them so much as just place them downtown. And then I think we'll probably do like an initial layer of eggs. And then maybe after like half an hour, 45 minutes, throw some more down, and we'll try to get some volunteers to help do that, obviously, but try to do it throughout those 2 hours so that as people are coming in, there's still eggs for kids to find.
We're looking for a volunteer to be an Easter bunny. So
I have a costume, but I'm not doing it. I do have availability to an Easter costume, bunny costume though.
I
And
have a teenager willing to be the Easter bunny.
I just told Jay as well that I am off that week, Michelle. So it's spring break, but I'm not going anywhere. I don't go anywhere. I'm not that fun. So I'll be here all week and I don't have to work at my regular job. So any help stuffing or whatever, I'm here. So.
No, just in general, we're looking at bans for the other First Fridays that are coming up, and we're going to be talking to the sound doctor later in March. We're thinking about moving one of the band locations from the Main and Toledo location to possibly West Maumee. I think it might be a little bit better suited there, but we have to figure out if we have electric and all that good stuff. So still just kind of working around those thoughts.
Did I see something posted about the car shows coming back up too?
The Back to the Bricks, or you mean the First Fridays?
The First Friday.
Yep, those are going to be starting in May and they run through October. So those will be at every First Friday, May through October.
Thank you, Michelle. Tom Gallagher?
Yeah, so although we didn't have a formal meeting, I have been working with Melissa Succi from Siena Heights University, and they're looking at hosting a networking event for students, basically to give them an opportunity to learn how to network. It's just a real small educational process, and then engage them with some local business people. As that develops, there'll be more to come on that, but it looks to do sometime this spring, maybe late April. So it'll happen pretty quick if it does happen.
All right, thank you, Jay. Unfortunately, organization committee was unable to meet due to our weather situation these last few weeks, and same with the economic vitality.
Actually, economic vitality did meet.
Oh, they did?
Yep.
Okay, well,
Yep.
I'll let you go from there.
We haven't got a chair yet, but we did meet. We talked a lot about just what economic vitality looks like, what the different things are. The one takeaway is I'm working on a brochure, so to speak, or maybe a one-pager of what it's like to do business with the city of Adrian to really help bridge that gap, provide some customer service. So people wanting to open a business know the 10 steps or the 15 steps they need to take to open a business downtown. It's not real clear always. And so I want to do whatever we can to help that. So I'm working on that to be presented at the next meeting, a draft of that to be presented at the next meeting of the Economic Vitality Committee.
Okay, all right, design committee?
Design committee wasn't able to meet because of weather.
Okay.
But they do have one item.
One sign application.
One sign application. Full disclosure, the sign application is for the Marks Trading Company. So, but it's the recommendation of the sign review committee that the Downtown Adrian Main Street Board and DDA approve the sign application for the Marks Trading Company at 220 North Main Street.
They moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Well, there you go, Jay. All right. All right. Tim, on the way now?
Hi, Tim Robinson, Lenawee now. Greg, no, the money's not there yet. We'll call them again today. All the paperwork has been signed and they promised us by the end of the month, but it is what it is. Good news is, if you haven't seen the papers, our board has picked a new executive director, Pat Farber. He'll start next Wednesday. Yay. Having a little soiree at the Croswell on the 21st at 4 o'clock, 4 to 6 to come on down, meet Pat, in case you haven't met Pat. As far as economic development, every kind of project we've got, business attractions, local expansions, and startups are off the chart. I mean, getting, I don't know how many requests for proposals. We got one, I got to talk to Greg. I left a message with you yesterday, Greg, on one that we got to talk about. Like I say, if this is a recession, it's the darndest recession I've ever seen. Everything is, project-wise is going very well, very, very busy. Couple local expansions in the tens of millions of dollars. So good news all around, just staying busy. When Pat comes on board, that'll be fantastic. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Tim? Thank you, Tim. Any other DDA business matters?
I just want to make a comment. I'm working with Greg Bell. There's an opportunity for us to get up to 6 electric car chargers for free.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And all we would have to do is pay for the installation of said chargers. So I just want to let everybody know that I'm proceeding with that, but I might need, I don't know, contacts with city or something in order to figure out, you know, what the logistics would be. If they're doing some work in parking lots on the north side, that may be an opportunity to install 6 free chargers. Literally the only thing on them is going to say sponsored by Greg Bell Chevrolet. And everything else, including the billing for them, could go into our accounts. Or the city accounts if the city arranged, you know, did install or something like that. So
the electrical work does call for having the conduit in place for chargers for the future. So I mean, that's already in that bid. So we'll definitely do that.
All right. Anybody else have anything? All right. Is there any public comment? No? Okay. All right. I have no chair comments. Any other board member comments? No? All right, upcoming events, first Friday, April 7th, the Easter egg hunt with 10,000 eggs. Then our next meeting is April 10th here. And then we have the Adrian International Film Festival, April 21st, 22nd. So if nothing else, motion to adjourn. Thank you for letting me fumble through this.